everyone, and welcome to this 5 signs that you are losing yourself in relationships. I think this is so important to look at. I don't know if you've had these issues, but I definitely had, where I've realized that I sometimes forget where I end and where other people start, where I lose myself in a relationship or in someone else's opinion or their view of a matter, and I lose my truth. And so I've done a lot of research and really worked hard on myself to try and help myself in this process of remaining authentically myself. And how am I supposed to do that? And of course, we need to look at why am I the way I am? And in helping so many of my clients with this, I thought I'd do a video for all of you out there who might be struggling with this issue. And so we're going to get started today, and we are going to just ask ourselves, why do we lose ourselves in relationships? Is it because we love too much? And that's usually what we think, is we think it's because I love them so much that I would self-sacrifice or give up my opinion or give up my authenticity. But that is actually not the problem. The problem is because of our wounds, because of our beliefs, how we see the world, how we believe the world sees us. And of course, the survival patterns that we learn as children. So there are 5 signs that we are going to be looking at today that will maybe help you identify if you lose yourself in relationships. So first of all, the first one is that you believe that you are unlovable or unworthy. So where does this come from? So first of all, you're feeling that when you were a child, you had feelings that you did not matter, and your caregivers might have treated you in a way as a child where you believed, well, my opinion doesn't matter, my views don't matter, how I see the world doesn't matter. Your nervous system has learned over time to regulate your parents' nervous system instead of your own. So what happens here is we often see that the generations before us didn't have the tools that we have today to regulate a nervous system. And so your emotions, if your parents didn't know how to deal with their own emotions, their own wounds, their own pain, they could never teach you to deal with your emotions and your pain. So they get stuck in the nervous system. And let's say your mom or your dad had a rough day, and they come home after that rough day, and you've had a rough day, and your nervous system is dysregulated as a child. That dysregulation of your nervous system sends your parents' nervous system into a spiral or into a dysregulation, even worse for themselves, and they never learned how to regulate their own nervous systems. And so your dysregulation became a threat to their bodies. And you can see parents will act differently in these circumstances. Some parents will shout and yell and create conflict. Other parents would punish you with silent treatment. Other parents would get very defensive of whatever it is that you say or invalidate your feelings. So all of these things make you believe that you are unlovable or unworthy. You developed a subconscious belief that you are not worthy or not good enough for love because you make mistakes. This is when parents treat their children very harshly for making mistakes, or make kids fearful of making mistakes or failing in life. You were punished harshly for a small or an innocent mistake, and you received a lot of criticism, rejection, stonewalling, or emotional withdrawal from your parents as a child. Or your parents feared your pain more than they valued your feelings. We often see this happen as well. So how does this show up in adult life? You struggle to set boundaries, and you struggle to say no. You struggle to hear no from other people. Unfortunately, these first 2 steps, they go hand in hand. If you are struggling to say no and you have no boundaries, then your beliefs are that other people also shouldn't have any boundaries from you. And so you don't like hearing the word no. It makes you feel rejected. It makes you feel unloved. Every relationship out there for you is filtered through your wounds of no one loves me or no one cares about me. Your emotional cup is continuously empty. You just feel like I'm giving, I'm giving, I'm giving. And who is taking care of me? Who is pouring back into me? You experience deep rooted insecurities. Whether you are honest with yourself about this or not, the people around you will identify that you are reacting out of your wound or your insecurities. And it's like you have no control over it. You logically know you shouldn't be acting out of it, but it really hurts to the point where you feel the pain in your body. You constantly seek reassurance from other people. Okay, so how do you fix this belief that you are unlovable and unworthy? You need to treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. You need to stop expecting a savior to show up and fix your life. You save you. Speak the truth about your experience and your feelings. Start speaking the truth first with yourself. Tell yourself, well, I have no boundaries, and this is why it hurts me so much when people say no and I feel rejected. That's the truth. Start telling yourself, well, I don't treat myself well. I put myself secondly. How can I expect others to treat me better? Start speaking your truths and then sit in those feelings for at least 90 seconds and then you move on. There is an expiration date on blaming your childhood. We all reach an age where we say, this has happened to us. This has been our childhood. Take some time in this step to grieve the child you never had, the needs that weren't met, not because your parents didn't want to meet those needs. They just didn't have the tools to meet those needs. So please don't think this is me saying don't feel sorry for yourself. Take some time, grieve and mourn what you've lost and what was never met in you and what problems that created in you. But then you need to say, okay, what am I going to do about it? And start working through those emotions, mourn, grieve, that's step 1 and 2, and then move on and say, how can I find better coping mechanisms now that actually serve me? How can I heal these wounds? Stop allowing your mind to keep you trapped in a victim mentality. Okay. We're continuing on how to fix this. You need to heal your abandonment wounds. If you don't heal your abandonment wounds, no love in the world will ever be enough for you. A lot of psychologists that I listen to have this saying, when love is not enough. You cannot love a person if they and that person experience love if they don't love themselves. So if you are feeling unlovable, it might be because of your abandonment wounds. And as long as you hold on to those wounds and hold on to the belief that you are unworthy of love and being loved, someone can love you so much and you won't experience it because of these wounds. So heal them. Start naming your feelings and allowing yourself to feel what you were not allowed to feel as a child. Teach your nervous system that its primary responsibility is regulating itself. So start helping yourself first before we want to change or blame or want other people to fix themselves. Health regulation in relationships is normal. But if your nervous system is constantly triggered, this wound is likely still active. So go look, where do you react? Where does this wound or these thoughts or these beliefs continuously show up? And then start working on those areas and those wounds that are still very active. Okay, so the belief that you must learn through or you must earn love through your deeds is point number 2. So the first one was not believing that you're not and worthy of love. The second belief is that you believe that you must earn love through your deeds. So you must labor, you must work in order to deserve the love that should be given freely. Where does this come from in your childhood? You received praise for what you did, but not for who you were. Your emotions were ignored, invalidated, and misunderstood, shamed, or maybe even silenced. You experienced stonewalling or emotional withdrawal when you had big emotions. You learn that if you acted perfectly, you could earn your way back into people's good graces. This we often see with children. I also just want to come back to stonewalling. A lot of people don't know what stonewalling is. Stonewalling is withholding your love, your affection, and communication in order to show that you are unhappy with someone else. So it's not confrontation that's direct, it's confrontation that's felt in the environment and in the atmosphere, and it's basically ignoring someone. In Afrikaans, we call this stilstape. People just go silent. Sorry, I just wanted to explain that. Okay, so how does this show up in adult life? People who earn love or believe that they should earn love. And the funny thing is, a lot of people who has this belief are completely unaware that they are labeling for love through deeds. And so really take some time to just sit and ask yourself these questions. Is this showing up in your life? You do everything for everyone and you still feel unseen. You carry yourself perfectly and don't allow yourself to make mistakes. So moral perfectionism. Perfectionism becomes your identity. You believe that if you act perfectly, people will finally meet your needs. If you say the thing perfectly, if you talk to them at the perfect time, if you just say it a bit differently or do it in a way that someone will understand what you are saying, then finally people will meet your needs. You give more than you are capable of receiving. If you are capable of giving amazing things and giving freely, but you're not able to receive that same amount back, this is a red flag for you believing that you should earn love. You struggle to say no or feel extreme guilt when you do. You care more about what others think of you than what you think of yourself. When you feel disconnected, lonely, or sad, you do something for someone else in order to feel better. You struggle to connect with your own emotions. No one taught you what your feelings mean or what they are trying to tell you. You expect other people to earn your forgiveness, love, or approval through perfect behavior. So, unfortunately, that street goes both ways. You expect perfection from yourself, and then you place that burden on others. You don't just earn love through deeds, you expect others to do the same. There we go. So, other things that show up in life, you care more about what others think of you than what you think of yourself. When you feel disconnected, lonely, or sad, you do something for someone else in order to feel better. You struggle to connect with your own emotions. I think we are going through the same things again. Yes. Okay, so how to fix this belief that you should earn your love through deeds? Stop connecting your worth to your productivity or your deeds for others. If someone comes to tell you, listen, you've done this and this, and it really hurt my feelings, and you start giving them a list of what you've done for them, okay, this is a problem. This means that you show love through your deeds and you believe that you've earned their love because you've done A, B, C, and D. Okay, so stop connecting your worth and your love to what you do for people and what people do for you. Stop connecting or start connecting to your emotions. Connect to your feelings that make you believe that you are not loved as you are, but that you need to be perfect in order to get that love. Make it a mission to understand and name your feelings. Let go of your perfectionism. Build a belief that you are worthy of love and affection, regardless of what you do. Meet your own needs first. So if you want to earn love first, earn for yourself. Love yourself, be kind to yourself, be good to yourself. Do the things for yourself that you do for other people. Not forever, we're just trying to get balance again. So start meeting your own needs. Teach people how to love you. Speak to yourself the way you speak to people you love, and treat yourself the way you treat others. Stop doing everything for everyone else and see who stays in your life, because those are the people who actually love you. The third belief is you believe love should cost you something. This is what we call a martyrdom complex. And this is the pattern where love becomes connected to your suffering, overgiving, guilt, and self-sacrifice. So you have this innate belief that love shouldn't come easy. Love shouldn't be kind. It shouldn't be accessible. It should be hard fought for. It should be suffering. And though there is suffering in love and there is conflict and there is issues, that shouldn't be your belief. That's part of life. It shows up. When it shows up, you deal with it. But this shouldn't be your day-to-day experience. And if it is, then you have this belief and it's affecting your relationships. So where does this come from? We were taught that all good things in life should be hard and we should earn it. And that's just not the truth. Love is freely given. Your parents maybe grew up in survival mode and knew nothing else but to survive. And so surviving and loving through that surviving has cost them something. And so you get that innate belief from them. You developed romanticized ideals about love and sacrifice. You think that if I get that big love, all my problems will be solved. And then you get the love and all the problems are not solved. That's a romanticized idea of life. Or even the romanticized idea of how we see love portrayed in TV series or in movies, where you have the meeting and then everything blooms and then there's a big conflict and then they get together and live happily ever after. And that's just not how life works. You believe that suffering would eventually be worth it. So you believe that suffering of the movie breakup or the movie conflict or whatever causes that it will be worth it because then you get the happy ever after. And that's not how we should view love. That's not how we should view the steps to love. Okay, because there's no big happily ever after at the end. Every day should be a happily ever after. And if conflict comes and interrupts that, that's good. You sit like a grown-up and you deal with the conflict. That doesn't mean the conflict will never show up again. It will come maybe again and again and again. So we also learned that it looks noble to suffer for something. We've connected nobility and awe to people who suffer through things that they shouldn't have to suffer through. Now, again, if something in life happens to you that you have no control over and you deal with that in dignity, that's amazing. We are talking about believing day to day that love should be difficult, and those two things are very different. You were guilt-tripped into doing things you did not want to do as a child, and then you were praised for being self-sacrificing. So receiving praise for sacrificing your values, sacrificing your views, sacrificing your truth, your intuition, often makes you believe that being connected to other people, having that connection, is more important than keeping your truth. And so we would sacrifice our truth or even part personalities that we may be like in order to maintain connection with people. And so we see that the connection becomes more important than the authenticity. There was an extreme reaction whenever you did not comply or whenever you stayed in your authenticity. Religious teachings may have been convincing you that suffer is the only path to love and goodness and worthiness. Now, in saying this, I am a religious person. I believe that it's also a romanticized idea to think that you're going to go through this life without suffering, without pain, without goodness. So we're not talking about life. We are talking about connection with people. And though there might be conflict that pops up day to day, it should not be a suffering for you. Okay, so you overgive until you become overwhelmed and burned out. This is how it shows up in adult life, is a lot of people become overwhelmed and burn out regularly. You struggle to say no because you fear that other people will have a bad reaction, and you are scared of those reactions because as a child, if you kept your authenticity or kept your truth, there was a reaction, whether it was conflict, whether it was abandonment, whether it was teasing, those types of things teaches you that being you is not safe, and adopting the views of the plenty, especially in high school, this is difficult. You flow into other people's needs instead of keeping your own, and that's to the cost of your values, of your beliefs. You carry everyone else's burdens as well as your own. You do everything for everyone, and then you feel empty inside. You don't understand why people do not love you back the way that you love them. You struggle to understand why healthy people have boundaries. Okay, you experience physical symptoms for emotional labor, like overwhelm, resentment, or rejection, sometimes even anger. How do you fix this? How do you fix this belief that love or connection to others should cost you something? You must have the belief that love is free. It cannot be earned through self-sacrifice or deeds, okay? Because these 5 things that we are looking at today, they all go together. So you cannot earn love and affection, and it shouldn't cost you something. So just as you cannot earn it by doing something, so it also shouldn't cost you. Heal your parentification wounds. This is very important. I've been working with some clients on their parentification wounds, and we test and find these wounds. And I've had amazing feedback on people who's had struggles for years and years and years in their life, even with their own health, where the health has started to clear up since we started working on their parentification wounds. Heal your nervous system. There's so much information about nervous system and nervous system healing. It's so easily accessible, so work on that. Stop believing that controlling everything keeps people safe. You cannot keep sacrificing in order to keep the connection. Somewhere you have to stop the sacrifice. You have to stop the deeds. You need to work on your beliefs and say, this is me not being able to say no, me expecting perfectionism from myself and other people, me trying to earn love, me believing that love should cost me all this emotional labor. All of this is keeping me in connection, and it's keeping the connection safe. And actually, it's putting pressure on the connection. If you want the connection to be safe, if you want the people in the connection to be safe, we should all be allowed to be ourselves and to connect in healthy ways to other people. Start believing that nothing catastrophic will happen if you let go of the control. Begin building the belief that life can be easier. Forgive your parents for teaching survival when that was all that they knew. Let go of romanticized ideals about suffering. There is nothing noble about abandoning yourself. Do not allow guilt to make your decisions. If you want to say no, say no. People will not reject you for being too tired to show up, not having the capacity to do something right now. If you give your word, then give your word. But if you are going through a difficult time and you feel like you cannot say no to the people in your life that you love and care for because you need some space for yourself, then you know you have this belief. You should be able to say no without excuses. No is a full sentence. I think I said it somewhere there. No is a complete sentence. Okay, the 4th thing that shows us that you are losing yourself in relationships is self-hatred. And often we don't see our own self-hatred. Other people can see it quicker than we can. So I really had to sit with this step, because this and perfectionism was something I was completely blind to. And I thought, yeah, well, people think that's it, but it's not it. That's not me. I love myself. I don't have perfectionism. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place. I'm loud, and I just realized I don't have perfectionism where other people have it, but I do have it. And I had to work very hard on it. And also on my self-hatred, it completely blindsided me. So believing that you are unlovable or unworthy. So here we get back to the first thing that shows us we are losing ourselves in relationships. Identifying strongly with a victim mentality. Becoming the voice of your early critic, neglector, or abuser. Those bullies you had in school, you don't need them to bully you anymore. You now do it for them. Okay. Repeating the things that the people said that to you when you were a child, where you felt neglected, where you felt misunderstood and abandoned, and that made you believe you were unlovable. You start parroting those beliefs and you don't let go of it. You still take them as truth. Being unable to see your own role when things go wrong. Feeling different from everyone else around you. Growing up in an environment where perfectionism conflicted with being a human being. So if there was pressure on you to always be perfect, and not enough room for you to just be a human being, that creates self-hatred, because that's what perfectionism does. Perfectionism puts so much pressure on you that you start hating yourself because you can never be perfect, and because you cannot reach that perfectionism, you start hating yourself subconsciously. Okay, never being taught how to feel, process, or heal your emotions. Also, that's self-abandonment. You abandon yourself in your feelings, and you need to pick up your feelings. You need to feel them. You need to go through it, because the body takes it as punishment if you don't, and that's self-hatred. Not being allowed to express healthy anger, frustration, or disappointment in the homes. I think of how many of us grew up in homes where respect was such a big thing that you couldn't have healthy anger and frustration and disappointment. And now you don't know how to deal with it as an adult, and the body sees that as self-hatred. Fix your self-abandonment wounds. These self-abandonment wounds go with the parentification wounds, and they walk hand in hand. You really can't detach the one from the other. How does self-hatred show up as an adult? You struggle to give and receive love. You constantly blame and criticize yourself internally. There's that perfectionism again. Healthy feedback feels like an attack. So when someone comes and they say, listen, you've done this and this and this, and it made me feel like that, and you are unable to hear that without feeling you are attacking me, you are, getting defensive, not hearing what your actions are doing to other people. That actually comes from a deep-rooted sense of self-hatred, because you hate yourself so much, you are abusing yourself so much, that when someone comes with healthy feedback, your body's unable to take any more negative feedback. It cannot hear that the beliefs that you have about yourself, that other people has the same experience. So you become defensive when criticized. You struggle to see truth that others can see clearly. You never fully step into your potential in work, relationships, or life. This is a big indicator. If you struggle reaching your potential, it's often connected to self-hatred, especially in relationships. If you feel that there's more in a relationship, or that you feel I have these mundane connections with people, but there's no one that I'm really connected to. There's nowhere where I can say, here, I'm 100% myself. If there's not one person in the world where you feel like that, it's because you hate yourself and you don't show yourself to people. And so you lose parts of yourself in relationship because you hold them back from people, not necessarily because you merge with them, but because you hold yourself back from them, because you are scared that if you reveal your whole self, you'll be rejected. You project your own behaviors onto other people, and you struggle to acknowledge that you are part of the solution. This area of you, this area of your beliefs have no problem, or has no problem, in believing that you are part of the problem. The healing comes when you start seeing yourself as part of the solution. This is actually supposed to be on the next slide. Okay, so you remain stuck in your victim thinking because you hate yourself and life is bad to me and life is difficult and why is life like this? So you keep stuck in that victim mentality because you hate yourself. Okay, so how to fix it? remember what I said, you need to start acknowledging that you are part of the solution. You need to do inner child work. I work a lot with my clients who struggle to feel. Start doing inner child work. We start promoting to help you to find the areas in your life that you've abandoned yourself in order to maintain connection. You need to learn how to self-mother. All of us have to be able to self-mother because none of us had perfect parents. And as a grown-up, you have the opportunity to mother yourself into healing. You need to love the parts of yourself that you abandoned in order to be accepted. You need to change your beliefs, and your relationships will begin to change too. So the change starts with you treating yourself better, you changing your beliefs before we try and change our relationships to other people or expect them to change their behavior in order for me to feel safe. You need to change your inner dialogue. You need to let go of perfectionism again. Grieve the childhood that you had. It wasn't the perfect version, but it's also not the worst thing that could have happened to you. And that is the truth. The truth is no parent can ever meet 100% of that child's needs. And so everyone needs to grieve the childhood they wish they had, and then start mothering themselves and start doing the inner child work. Allow room for humiliation, mistakes, and being wrong. That's how you fix perfectionism, is you allow yourself to be just a little bit humiliated by yourself, not other people, or allow yourself to do something quirky. And someone may be thinking that's a bit weird. Allow your truth to shine through in front of people, and allow that one or two people might not like it, and that's okay. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to be wrong. It's not the worst thing that can happen to you in this life. And then the fifth thing that shows that you lose yourself in relationships is you believe that you are too much. This has also been a big one for me and an eye-opener. You were maybe a sensitive child with caregivers who did not understand your sensitivity or the complexity of your emotions. You were honest, expressive, loud, emotional, or different. And we know in high school, even in primary school, all you want to be is you want to blend in with everyone. And maybe some areas made you stand out in your generation. And that caused you to feel that I'm too much for people to handle. So you start suppressing yourself. You start suppressing your emotions, who you are, what you think, what your beliefs are. And so you were taught to fit into other people's boxes instead of being yourself. Your needs were not met, no matter how clearly you explained them. So you tried to tell your parents, your siblings, your friends, the teachers, and just no one got what you were saying. You were told you were too sensitive, too emotional, or overreacting. People withdrew from you until you calmed down or became easier to manage. So we see they remove love and affection. It's sort of like stonewalling. They removed their love and affection until you became who they wanted you to be. And this we often see in teacher settings. Teachers sit with so many kids in front of them, they just couldn't deal with all of the variables. So this often is a wound that we see happen in school settings or even with friends. Peer pressure, this is what peer pressure is. Your friends remove themselves from you until you become the person that they can manage, that they can control, that they can influence. And then you're accepted back into the group because you've done what they expect you to do, or you've done your penance. How does this show up in real life? You may make yourself smaller to be more acceptable to others. You struggle to connect to your authentic self. You constantly prioritize what other people want or think ahead of what is. You abandon yourself and sacrifice your own needs. You believe your needs are too much. You have a belief that you cannot ask for help. You cannot say, I want this, I want that, without earning or doing something for you to receive. For you, there's a belief that you must do in order to receive. You don't feel that you deserve to just receive. And by receive, I mean your needs being met. You feel lonely even when you are surrounded by people. You feel that nobody truly knows the real you. You would rather do everything yourself. You struggle to ask for help and you suppress and control your emotions because other people cannot handle your pain. You continue hearing messages that you are too much, too dramatic, you're overreacting even in adult life. Okay, so how do you fix this? You need to reconnect with your inner child and that child's pain, because it's painful to be rejected for who you really are innocently as a child. Think of that child's innocence and then experiencing that pain of the rejection or the abandonment or the stonewalling that takes place. So you need to reconnect with that child in pain, and you need to reconnect with those emotions. You need to feel the pain, and then, even like I said, just sit in it for 90 minutes and then say, okay, but how can I protect myself from this as an adult? Reconnect with the parts of yourself that you abandoned. So start being your quirky, weird self. That's fine. People don't have to like you. It's okay. The people who love you will still love you, even if you are quirky or say no or do that thing that is a bit too much. They'll actually start celebrating you. Heal the wounds that disconnected you from your authentic self. Stop shrinking yourself for other people's comfort. Let go of relationships with people who cannot handle the real you. It's okay to lose that connection. It's okay to lose that attachment. The world is full of people and you'll make friends again. Build a life where your sensitivity is respected instead of criticized. Okay, so the goal is not to become less emotional, less sensitive, less loving, or less caring. The goal is to stop abandoning yourself in order to receive love. Healthy relationships do not require you to lose yourself. Healthy relationships allow you to become more of who you really are. Be your authentic self. Celebrate yourself before you expect other people to celebrate you. Thank you so much for joining me in this session of 5 signs of losing yourself in relationships. I hope it helped you just like it helped me. Should you want to connect with me, the best way to do so for sessions is via WhatsApp. You are also welcome to scan this QR code in the center of the screen. That will lead you to my WhatsApp group where I post my specials and different types of sessions that I offer. And I hope you have a lovely day. I really hope this helped you as much as it helped me.
Please feel free to leave a comment. If you like this video, click the like button. Remember to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to ring the bell.